to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
GameTime Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage Late
This sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. To your quarterback in the first round. Yeah. It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
And now you have to qualify, and these majors, you got to go do it, man. Like, and it just comes off really petty to sit up there and be like, I'm not.
You know what you signed up for, so I don't like the pettiness, and I 100% think Taylor Gooch should be in the major championships. Mm-hmm. So in the same note, I'm saying this, but also it's like, hey, this is the world in which we live in right now, and you don't deserve anything.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome in a very happy Friday to you. It is Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, and we are, we got a little bit of a reprieve from basketball, at least the NBA, as we get 6 days to recover from what was a pretty interesting couple of weeks here in the NBA playoffs. But the finals are set, and we know that thanks to the absolute demolishing of the Minnesota Timberwolves by the Dallas Mavericks last night, 124-103. And if we're all being honest here, that game was over by the time it reached the halfway point. Minnesota looked like a team that was just run over by a Doncic truck and had no idea what to do. And boy, it's going to be an interesting offseason for Minnesota because they got some question marks they are going to have to figure out. We've got the coach, James Young, coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about what the future holds for that man right there, a young 22-year-old Edwards, and not so young Mike Conley. And then can anybody really trust Karl Anthony Towns in the playoffs moving forward? There's a lot of question marks about that team. But the future, believe it or not, I think does look pretty bright for Minnesota. But the future looks even better now for the Dallas Mavericks, as I believe 2011 is the last time that they were at the finals. And, of course, that year they beat what was the start of the Big Three and the decision between LeBron James and company there for the Miami Heat. Well, it was all Dallas Mavericks, Dirk Nowitzki, and a lot of people probably don't remember, that was Jason Kidd, who was their leading point guard at that time. That was the last time the Dallas Mavericks actually won a championship, and what a championship it was with good old Dirk Nowitzki there, and it feels like the reincarnation happening. But don't tell the market that. Don't tell the market that, because the market has the Boston Celtics looking ahead as a big favorite. Minus 225 is what we're looking at there, plus 188 for the future. Who's going to win it all? Well, I'm going to ask Coach this coming up. To me, and I love Tatum, don't get me wrong. I love Jaylen Brown, but the Boston Celtics will not have the best player on the court in that series. That will belong to Dallas and Luka Doncic. So is that worth maybe a play on Dallas in the future? Is it 6 days to prepare? Which coach do we give the edge to? There's a lot to unpack there in the upcoming. And again, next Thursday is when it'll all begin. Game number 1 at Boston there. 6.5. 6.5, bouncing back and forth. 214, 214.5, bouncing back and forth. A lot of different ways to attack game 1 here. And I think recency bias will go by the wayside, given the fact that, well, it's going to be what feels like forever since we've seen Boston play. And it'll be a good week before anybody can remember what Luka and Kyrie and Dallas did to the Minnesota Timberwolves there in a closeout spot on the road. But MVP discussions there. If Jason Tatum still your favorite in the MVP market, Luka right behind him, then Jaylen and Kyrie Irving. That is just disrespectful to be a 20-1 right there. That's there is Dallas wins it. I think it's easy enough to say that Luka gets it, but if Luka doesn't get it, Kyrie will certainly be not that far behind. And we've seen this with Kyrie before, have we not? He made a hell of a number 2 to LeBron James with the Cleveland Cavaliers back in the day to win that championship. So the man has been there and done that before. A lot of experience on both sides, but only a handful of guys have a ring. And some of those guys happen to be on the Dallas Mavericks side of the court. So should be a good one. I think ultimately the playoffs have delivered us the 2 best teams in the NBA, especially down the stretch. Maybe more so with Boston from beginning to end, who is pegged to be the favorite coming out of the East. They had a lot go well for them during the playoffs. Obviously, not having to face a healthy Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. 3 guys, 4 guys, starters out with the Cleveland Cavs certainly helped. Not having Halliburton against Indiana. There are a lot of things. You'd rather be lucky than good. You can only play the teams that you're scheduled to play. And they have been the favorite for most of the year. So it does not shock me they're a favorite here. I mean, after all, Dallas was a 5 seed coming into the Western Conference Finals, and all eyes were at the top with Denver and Jokic. But, man, they didn't get any respect in that Minnesota series. Imagine getting 5 points in that game last night. Ouch. The books have been very low on Dallas all playoffs long. I don't anticipate that's going to change during this Boston series. Boston has always been one of the market's favorites all year. I think that will happen no matter what happens in game 1. So should be a good one in the NBA. It's going to be a great one, too, in the Western Conference Finals. Tonight as game 5 is going to take center stage. Listen, it just doesn't get any better than what we have gotten in the NHL Eastern Conference Finals last night with, once again, Florida and the Rangers separated by just 1 goal. Overtime, a big possibility last night until late in the game, an empty netter and then a late goal by the Rangers made it interesting. But that series now 3-2 heading back to Florida with the Rangers trying to figure out, do they have enough in the tank here to be able to get it back to New York for that all-important Game 7? But quite honestly, what have they done at the Garden against the Panthers that makes anybody believe that that's the place they need to head to here? As the Panthers have certainly held their own on the road in the Garden against this Rangers team. But Edmonton hoping to be just as good tonight here against the Dallas Stars, who are trying to go ahead and, just like the Florida Panthers did last night, go ahead and get that edge. Dallas wants to be that first 1 to 3 wins here and have an opportunity to close it out in a Game 6, and that is exactly how they're going to play this one. And as you can tell, boy, look at the prices in this series, along with the Rangers and the Panthers, have been extremely interesting here. 5.5 is what you've got for a total. There's a lot to unpack with this game here tonight. Certainly, both teams have showcased offense that makes you go, are we really getting an under in this game tonight? Call me crazy, but the two goaltenders we just watched last night at Madison Square Garden far exceed at least the goaltenders I think that we have playing here tonight. So it would not shock me if this is a game that goes up and over the 5.5 goals here tonight. But the Oilers at home closed right around 135, minus 135 in game 4, and it wasn't even close. They were heads and tails above Dallas in that game, thanks to, well, you know who, Connor McDavid, who in all likelihood, if this team is to advance and win a championship for Edmonton in Canada, he is clearly the one that will take down the Conn Smythe Award. But can Dallas get it done? Can Ottinger in goal limit what he and that offense and Draisaitl and Heyman can do? I think this is going to be a fun one here tonight. We'll have much more on this all-important Game 5 in the Western Conference Finals coming up, plus plenty of Major League Baseball to talk about. We are loaded on this Friday edition here of Game Time Decisions. Come on back and join us. The coach, James Young, stepping up. Let's break it down. The NBA Finals next here on the Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in the Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, and we're getting excited. Loaded card here tonight. Major League Baseball coming up. NHL Game 5 in the Western Conference Finals. A lot to talk about there. And we've got some WNBA action we're going to dive into in just a few. But we're coming off what was an epic beatdown of huge proportions in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals, which means the NBA Finals are all set, and nobody knows that better than the coach, James Young in the house here. And, Coach, imagine getting 5 points and being Luka and Kyrie in a bounce-back spot. My goodness here. That was impressive to say the least, but it appears the market not all that impressed here with your win over Minnesota in 5. I don't see a scenario in which between now and game 1, Coach, Boston isn't a significant favorite in this series. In game 1, the market has loved them all year. Why would it change now, even after Luka is going to be the best player on the court in that series, bar none, as far as I'm concerned?
Absolutely right, Joe. And I think this market has crowned Boston the champion since the playoffs even started. And as they've gone through and wiped the floor clean with the Eastern Conference, they continue to crown them. But I'm not one of them. You're right. Luka Doncic is going to be the best player on the floor in the series. But here's the big question. Can Kyrie be second? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Because Kyrie, when he wants to, can go off. And what's amazing, Joe, about Kyrie is his evolution of a player and as a person. Remember how we used to trash Kyrie back in the day? World is flat, yada, 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 burn incense in TD Bank Garden. By the way, he may bring that back. The COVID vaccine, blaming Eric Adams for his suspension, all that. We don't really talk about that with Kyrie anymore, do we? We talk about the fact that him and Luka have figured out this Batman-Robin thing, and they've got it to perfection. And folks, last night was the best example. 20 points, Luka Doncic, 4-6 from 3 in the first quarter. Hitting, I thought he was playing, remember NBA Jam? Where you get 4 points for shooting the ball from 30 feet? That's what Luka was doing, because 3 of those threes should have been 4-point plays. But then Kyrie, right? Second quarter, 15 points. Joe, they had 44 points at the break. Minnesota had 40 as a team. Yep. So to me, it's about this. And this is how I want people to understand the series. Bench play is going to be closer than people think because of the elevation of Lively. Hardaway Jr., hopefully. Maxey gives you whatever he can give you. It's how much can Luka and Kyrie outplay Tatum and Brown versus how much does Porzingis, Holiday, and White outplay Jones, Gafford, and Washington. If the battle of the A's is greater than the battle of the B's, then I think Dallas can win it. If the B's of Boston are winning more than the A's of Dallas, the Celtics are going to win it. I think it's going to be one hell of a series, Joe.
I think it's going to be phenomenal. And before we dive into it, Coach, though, Anthony Edwards getting a lot of flack here, but it just goes to show you once again that no matter how great the Minnesota defense and elite that they were all year, and they were elite, great offense this time of year beats great defense, Coach, all the time when it matters the most. The kid is 22 years old. He's been in the league 4 years, and he didn't have a Kyrie. He had Karl Anthony Towns there, and he looked a lot like a kid that was 22 who had absolutely no idea what to do at certain times when Dallas took away what he wanted to do. All in all, this kid is going to be the face of the NBA over the next decade. Luka's now, Edwards, let's talk again in about 5 or 6 years, because I think the kid is special, Coach. What do you think he is?
I think the kid is phenomenal. And, I'm not going to put him as the face of the NBA. I think one of the faces. I think there's Ant. I think there's Wemby. I'll tell you what, I think the NBA praised the you-know-what. Cooper Flag is what everybody thinks he is. He'll be coming out in the 25 NBA draft. And I know we get the Jordan comparison. Let's just stop there, okay? The only reason why people say he's the next Jordan, because he looks like Jordan. That's it. He ain't Jordan there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing that reminds me of Jordan. It's the growing pains in the playoffs to get over the hump. You know, obviously Jordan had that series in 86, a 63-point game versus Boston in the Garden. Then it took him, I think, 3 times to get by Detroit.
Yep.
The kid is coming.
Yep.
But I think he needs a more consistent Pippen.
Yep.
I don't know if that's, and let me be honest. I'm a Jersey guy. I love Cat. I've seen this kid play since he was, this tall, but maybe that tall. When he was younger. So I love Cat. I love his game, and he's a great kid, great family. But he needs another oomph too. It'll be interesting what happens in Minnesota, Joe, because Gobert is eligible for an extension after this year. Do they give it to him, or they get rid of him and kind of lean on Naz Reid playing with Karl Anthony Towns and Edwards?
Yep. Well, don't forget, this was the same architect that put this team together, put Denver together, and they had to go through some growing pains with the big man there as well. So a lot of very interesting moves to check out with Minnesota. We'll talk more about the NBA Finals when we get back here. Game Time Decisions.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, joined by the coach, James Young here. We're both in agreement. We think the NBA Finals, through it all, we got the 2 best teams in the NBA getting ready to do battle with some of the biggest names in the NBA. I think it's going to be a fascinating chess match. But let me ask you, Coach, because it's when they said the last time Dallas was in the finals was 2011. Dirk, one of Dirk's final year, and then it dawned on me that, oh yeah, their current coach was their point guard on that team, and he was the stability factor on it. Who's got the coaching edge in this one here, Coach?
No, it's Jason Kidd, and I wouldn't have said that 3-4 years ago. But there's more parallels, right? There was this team in 2011 with a European superstar, right? There was this team. They had to play in the East. That was untouchable, right, folks? That was the first LeBron, D. Wade, Chris Bosh. We go with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 21 hike, right?
Yep.
And they got picked off in 6 games, and Dallas won the NBA Finals. Early lean. What do you think coach is thinking? You got it. Dallas in 6 games. Early lean.
If it ain't broke, Coach, we ain't fixing it here. And it worked in 2011. Why not this year? All right, WNBA here tonight, Coach. You got a couple of props for us, I believe. The New York Liberty taking on, is it Washington here tonight? We'll start with that one. Liberty 2-touchdown favorites. Prop-wise, what are you looking at in this one?
Well, I'm going to go right to Stewie. I'm going to go to Brianna Stewart, 10-plus rebounds at plus 108. This is Brianna Stewart, or over 9.5 rebounds at plus 108. This is a Brianna Stewart and the New York Liberty team that's number 3 in rebounding percentage in the WNBA. They are playing a team that does not make shots. They're the worst offensive team in the W, and they rebound at the least rate, at 43% rebound rate. They don't even get half the rebounds. Liberty's about 52, 53%. 3 of the last 4 games, Stewie's gone over this number 9.5. Liberty are struggling offensively, but not their defense. Stewie over 9.5 rebounds. And if you heard me earlier with Scotty Farrell, I also like the Mystics to go under their team total of 72.5. They only score 73.9 points per game. Liberty are having problems offensively. They're not going to cover the spread, but I don't think the Mystics get to 73 points either.
The Lynx certainly looking the part. Of course, then they ran into Vegas, and that was a whole different story. But they certainly have been impressive thus far. They're taking on the Phoenix Mercury. What are we going to get in this one here, Coach?
You know, the Phoenix Mercury team is really good offensively because of the addition of Kalia Copper. Obviously having Taurasi as well. But when you look at the Minnesota Lynx, I'm going to go in Nafisa Collier over 10.5 rebounds. Nafisa Collier is this team. It plays really good defense. There's no, Brittany Griner in the middle to kind of give her problems. This team is number 2 in the WNBA in defensive rating. When you talk about rebounding percentage, they are up there. I think they're in the top 4 or 5 or 6, I should say, in rebounding percentage. Nafisa Collier is a double-double machine. She also should be something you should be considering for the most valuable player. She's already passed Stewie. She's 3rd. Nafisa Collier over 9.5 rebounds, and sprinkle the fact that the Mercury go under their team total of 78.5 points.
What are we doing with Dallas, who's been all over the place so far this year here, Coach, taking on Connecticut?
They're 4-0 against the spread as underdogs, but Arike Wumbuwale is scoring 28.8 points per game. Meet the best defensive team in the WNBA. Her line is 24.5 points. She's now faced a team that's top 4 in defensive rating. I love Arike. She goes under it, and the Suns covered is 7.5. Right now, folks, they haven't played anybody, but they're undefeated, and they may be the best team in the WNBA right this second.
Certainly looking the part here. Should be a very interesting night in the WNBA. Should be an interesting weekend as well, as we've got a couple of great games coming up. In the meantime, Coach, enjoy the rest of your evening, my friend. Appreciate you stopping by. We'll be back. Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Plenty going on here tonight, including NHL Western Conference Finals, Game 5 coming up between Edmonton and Dallas. We got plenty of Major League Baseball to get to, but let us not forget the PGA Tour alive and well and kicking, and nobody knows it better than Brady Cannon as we've been focused on the RBC Canadian Open. And it's been interesting start, to say the least, here, Brady, because we saw on Thursday, we saw a lot of guys that we didn't think would go low, went low. Then those guys blew up here today. It's kind of been all over the map right now through two rounds. But what is your impression through the first 2 days?
Yeah, it has been a weird start to this tournament, Joe. It's a little bit reminiscent of what we saw at the PGA Championship and last week at Colonial, where you had a lot of rain softening up this golf course heading into the tournament. And then as the day goes on here, as the days go on, I should say, the rain lightens up and you're getting a firmer and faster golf course. And I think that's what we're probably headed for here over the weekend. No real rain in the forecast going forward. Sunshine, not a real breeze that's going to affect anything. But I think the grounds crew is probably going to intend to make this golf course firmer and faster. And like you say, some guys really took advantage of the soft conditions and other guys are absolutely struggling. There's not much in the middle here at this tournament. I mean, you saw Sahith Theegala, he missed the cut. He's 5 over par. Then you have on the other end of the spectrum, Bobby Mack, Sam Burns, these guys going real low. So it's been kind of feast or famine. It's really going to be interesting to see what the weekend brings here.
Yeah, well, it does. And usually when we get tournaments that are shaping up like this, Brady, it means start looking down the card here, because is there anybody here in the top 10 that you trust to pull? I mean, there is no Scotty Scheffler in this. There's nobody. there's nobody that we would say, oh boy, he's in front. I mean, McIntyre, bless him. He's been great, 64, 66 up at the top at 10 under. But then you've got a list of guys. I'm going, it's still anybody's tournament, which means maybe there's opportunities to jump in here.
Yeah, and I might even wait to see one more day, and maybe jump in before Sunday, because I think, to your point, there's a lot of unknown at this point. It is kind of haphazard and all over the board. Bobby McIntyre was a sharp play. There's a lot of sharp players on McIntyre coming into this tournament. He's had a couple of good rounds at some tournaments in his last few starts. He missed the cut last week at Colonial, but had a good PGA championship. He was good at Quail Hollow. He's been in good form. What worries me, though, 68th in the field for strokes gained approach, 32nd off the tee, and 40th in greens and regulation. And, oh, by the way, 3rd in putting. A lot of this is just because of a hot putter. And you kind of hate to see that, because a putter typically doesn't stay red hot for all 4 days. And the other parts of his game apparently aren't working too well. Ryan Fox, however, a very good putter to begin with, ranked 19th right now in the field for strokes gained putting, number 1 in greens and regulation, number 1 on approach, 9th off the tee. Got to clean up the accuracy a little bit, 40th in driving accuracy. But all facets of his game firing pretty well right now for Fox. This guy has also won on another Harry Colt design, Wentworth over in England, same course designer as we have here at Hamilton Golf and Country Club. So Fox is one of the guys at the top that looks like, he may not go off the rail here one way or the other, because everything's pretty steady. Mac Hughes was a guy we talked about, maybe going back-to-back Canadians here with Nick Taylor winning last year. But this guy, number 1 in the field in strokes gained putting right now. We know he's a very good putter, but off the tee, 118th. On approach, 40th. Driving accuracy, 115th. I mean, the point is here, Joe, if it's only the putter that is carrying you, that is recipe for disaster, because typically that putter does not stay that hot. You talk about a long shot. One guy that I'm on pre-tournament for an outright win and a top 20 finish is Aaron Rye. Had a real good day on day 1, was very pedestrian on day 2, but number 1 in strokes gained off the tee, number 1 in driving accuracy, 32nd on approach, 2nd in greens and regulation, and 107th in putting. He gained strokes on the field in round 1 with the putter, but then lost a bunch in round 2. If the putter, it's kind of like Scotty Scheffler. If the putter can just be average for Aaron Rye, I think he's going to be there and could make a move over the weekend.
So it's interesting, too, because it started out yesterday, Sam Burns, 63, Rory was right there. And yet in day 2 here today, those guys blew up. And now all of a sudden they let everyone back into it. But when you're looking, you mentioned Mac Hughes here. We've got another Canadian in Corey Connors not too far back from there at 4 under par with a couple of steady rounds. And how about a shout out to the AARP, huh? What the hell is Stuart Sink doing in the top 10 here? What's going on with this, Brady?
Yeah, he and Mike Weir are going out to dinner tonight, as a celebration of the old folks. I couldn't, Mike Weir actually popped in my numbers a little bit this week, and I'm like, no way, I'm not playing Mike Weir. And he's done okay. Good on him. Obviously they're in his home country, and he's the captain of the President's Cup team this year, which will be played in Montreal. So probably a pretty good frame of mind for the old Masters champ, Mike Weir. But you mentioned Corey Connors, and, this guy is one of the preeminent ball strikers in the world. And he just doesn't have too many bad rounds where he's not great off the tee and great on approach. But the bugaboo of his career has been the putter. I mean, this guy would have won more. He's won twice on tour, I believe. I don't think he's won 3. I know he's won twice. And, if he could just putt average, this guy would have won more events. He's that good of a player. Yeah, so I think he's dangerous. He probably knows this course as well as anybody. I imagine he's played it more so than a lot of people in the field. So he's certainly a long shot that is not out of this as well. I think, Joe, guys that are 3 or 4 under is probably about as deep as you want to go. Right now, you've got the leader, McIntyre, at 10 under par. Halfway through the tournament, that would translate into being 20 under par for a winning score. I think it's going to get a little tougher. I think somewhere between 16 and 18 is your winning score. And that means these guys at 3 or 4 under, they put a couple of rounds together of 6-7 under each day over the weekend, and they've got a shot. And we've seen that those low rounds are out there. It's been so volatile. You know, there's some guys going low and some guys going real high, and not much in between. But if you can get a guy to get on a roll over the weekend and maybe, you know, throw a couple of 6 unders out there in a row, you know, somebody deeper on the board in that 3, 4, 5 under range, I think has a good chance to catch these guys at the top. And again, the guys at the top, maybe other than Ryan Fox, I kind of expect them to come back, because right now they're just leaning on a hot putter, and I don't know if that's going to hold up.
Well, it looks like even par right around the cut line there. You mentioned some guys just wasn't a good couple of days, but some guys are still hanging in there, and it is moving day for a reason, right? So guys like Fleetwood at 3 under par. What about Keith Mitchell? Why did we forget about Keith Mitchell all of a sudden putting a couple of pretty good rounds together? Hits the ball a million miles here. Is he somebody as a dark horse we should look at?
I think he always is. He's one of the best drivers of the golf ball in the world, you know, and Mitchell is always a play from the sharps because he has that potential. And we even saw it last week at Colonial where, as you mentioned, on moving day, he went real low, but then he gave it all back on Sunday. So with Mitchell, you just don't know if he can put it together for 4 days in a row. And that's what has me worried. Fleetwood, you know, he's kind of getting there on smoke and mirrors. He's not playing especially well. If you look at, you know, the numbers, it's pretty pedestrian. So he didn't really catch my eye. But Ryan Fox, Aaron Rai, Andrew Novak is another guy that's been pretty steady so far.
Sounds like money to me. Brady Cannon, good luck, my man. We'll be back. Game Time Decisions.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets and when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions on a Friday. We certainly hope it has been a profitable week thus far. If not, though, we got plenty going on here tonight, not just in Major League Baseball, but, of course, a pretty big NHL game happening here tonight. Game 5, if you can believe it, in the Western Conference Final, stepping in to help us navigate through a crazy evening here. George Kurtz in the house, and George, before we get to Edmonton and Dallas, we similar spot last night, Rangers and Florida. And Florida, once again, the better team for 2/3 of that game. And in New York, no less. So it feels like as good as they have been in goal, there's only so many shorthanded goals that can carry you to represent the Eastern Conference Final in the Stanley Cup. So it does feel like Florida is very close to punching their ticket. And I'm going to guess you have the same feeling on that series as well.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it, right? This was the Rangers' bugaboo coming into the playoffs, really. They were a specialty team, right? Mainly for the power play goals they scored. They really haven't scored on the power play versus Florida here, but they were big on shorthanded goals as well here. 5-on-5 was going to be their issue, and it continues to be their issue. Joe, I thought last night might have been the first game in this series where Bobrovsky outplayed Shesterkin. Not that Shesterkin played badly. I don't think he did, but Bobrovsky outplayed him. Because I don't think the Rangers were all that bad, to be honest. I think they played a good, solid game, but I keep saying this over and over again. Florida is a hockey team. 1-18, they roll it at you. They can play any style you want to play. You want to play a skill game, play a skill game. You want to play to a rough and tumble, we'll do that. You want to go dirty, fine. Well, they can play any way you want to play here. I just think they're built for this. They're built for series to go long. 6-7 games, they love it. They love it. Now, I thought Florida really dominated games 3 and 4. Didn't think they dominated last night, but they were the better team still. So forget 2/3 of the game. I think Florida's been the better team for 2/3 of the series. And now you're going back home. Panthers, don't let it go, right? Don't let it go. Stomp it out here. Send the Rangers home here. I had the Panthers winning the series in 7. If I can change it now, which of course I could, I'll have the Panthers winning in 6. I think they do end it tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's just that experience coming into play, that loss in the finals from a year ago with the same nucleus on this team here. They've been playing with purpose. They never get too high, they never get too low. It's a very experienced squad who knows what it takes to be able to get there. Tonight, not so much with these two teams. Road teams here, Kurtz, 43 and 34 this postseason. That's pretty impressive with what we're seeing right now here. So I don't think the venue matters very much. I think we've seen that in this series and others, but it's a coin flip price. So who are we looking at here to get that all-important edge 3-2?
Yeah, I think this is a harder series to figure out here for whatever reason. Dallas, once again, they're built a lot like Florida, right? They was the same exact team as Florida, but they really haven't, I guess, impose their will. You said it. Home ice means nothing. 2-0 leads mean nothing. That's actually been a story in the NHL this season, that multiple goal leads just hasn't been a big thing anymore. For whatever reason, teams just can't hold on to them. So I said I don't think even teams worried about going down early. I mean, you think about Game 4 here. Dallas goes up 2-0, and we're all like, oh, they got to take Skinner out. They got to remove him. Got no choice. He's not playing well. And Darnell Nurse, who's taken more crap from the media than really anybody this postseason. He was on the ice, I think, with both those goals. So, like, how's his comments must be bang, shot, right? But no, he plays a great rest of the game there. Everything comes back, scores the next 5 goals, and here we are, a pivotal Game 5. I'm on Dallas. I do not feel great about it, but it's been a seesaw series. Win, lose, win, lose. So I'm going to go back to a Dallas win here. Like I said, I don't feel great. I'm going to take the over 5.5. Which I haven't done since maybe Game 3, I think it was, and I've only done it once this series. I think we're going to see some shots. I think we're going to see some goals this series. We're all wondering about Chris Tanev. He was the one who took the shot off his ankle. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? He's not a household name. He's not a fantasy name. He's not a guy you're betting on, for shots, goals, or anything like that. But he's a very key defenseman to the Dallas Stars. They acquired him from the Calgary Flames at the trade deadline to be that final piece of the puzzle here. We'll see if he plays. I think he took that shot off his ankle on Wednesday, and I guess it didn't break it, so must just be severely bruised here. They'll shoot him up, right? And I think he'll be in there tonight. If he's not in there tonight, that's a problem. That being said, he will not be 100%. So that's another reason. He's been a big part of shutting down Draisaitl and McDavid. If he's not out there, that could be an issue. But even if he is out there, won't be 100% here. I think goals are coming here. And another sneaky play I'm going to play tonight is Ettinger over 28.5 saves.
He's actually one of the leaders among blocked shots in the playoffs so far. I mean, that guy's got no problem laying out in front of anybody. Having said that, obviously that's going to be a big piece of the puzzle here, but Odger's been worse at home this postseason, which is kind of crazy. That total hovering around 5.5. You spoke of the Rangers not being able to get a power play goal. Dallas hasn't scored a power play goal against Edmonton in this one either. Are we looking at the under in this one?
I'm on the over. I think we can get some offense tonight here. But the fact that Dallas had to score, and this has been a sort of a theme, right? Vancouver had issues on the power play as well against Edmonton. Joe, when did Edmonton get a good penalty kill? When did this happen? Did they acquire it somewhere in the playoffs? Because they have not been a good penalty kill team all season here. I mean, what's the old saying in hockey? Your best penalty killer is your goaltender. Maybe Skinner steps up in these opportunities. That's what he says. He's more focused, whatever it might be. Or maybe just not facing teams that have pure, goal scorers here, finishers. Hintz is back. Robertson woke up in Game 3. There's a lot of good players on Dallas. Robertson, I mentioned Hintz, Seguin, Ben, Pavelski, once again, still on the back of a milk carton here. Wyatt Johnson, who's been a little bit quiet this series. They're still dangerous. And I still think they're going to make some noise here. That's why tonight feels like a 4-3 game to me. I just think we can get some goals scored. 3-3 into overtime. I wouldn't bet an overtime prop on this. I'm not going to take that. There's too many wacky things that could happen here. But I like Dallas. I like the over. And I like Ettinger, his over save props.
Yeah, well, DeBoer will get the last line shifts right at home. So maybe that'll cause some issues for Connor McDavid and company. Get the right people on the ice at the right time. Should be an interesting one here. We also got plenty of interesting matchups in Major League Baseball tonight. We'll talk about a few of those when Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. Plenty of Major League Baseball getting ready here, top of the hour to kick off. Of course, the Cubs finally were able to score a few runs, and they still lost today, so kudos to Chicago with the ineptitude there. Also, it's never a good sign when the Mets send their entire team to AAA, which is pretty much what they've been playing like here, George. But we do have a couple of teams that actually resemble major league squads, like the Cardinals and the Phillies here tonight, which I think quietly should be one hell of a weekend series here. The Cardinals aren't as bad as they were a month ago. They've turned some things around here. What do we think we're going to get tonight here with Nola on the mound?
I think Nolan's going to do pretty well here. The Cardinals, so they have some injury concerns. Nootbaar was put back on the IL, right? He's banged up again. And Brandon Donovan was a late scratch. I didn't see why he was a late scratch. Just that he's not in the lineup tonight. So, that weakens that lineup a little bit here. I know Nolan Gorman's been hot. Goldschmidt's figured it out again. It was too much to lay on Philadelphia as far as minus 200, and I don't think they were parlay material, so I left them away there, but I have them on the run line. So I kind of like the Phillies. I like the Phillies tonight, mainly because of the absences of those two guys for St. Louis. If those guys would have been healthy, I probably would have left this game alone.
So that's going to be, let's see if the bats get going again for Philadelphia. That's going to be the big question. Bats have not been a problem for the Guardians, who are now 37-19 on the season. They are home tonight. They got BB on the mound going up against the one and only Patrick Corbin. What are we doing here? And I think the number is actually, the total is 7.5, which is interesting against Corbin. Is it fade Corbin on a Friday? What are we doing here?
Corbin's terrible. All right. I mean, he's terrible. All right. He's a softball pitcher. I think he gets destroyed tonight. I think he gets absolutely destroyed. So I'm on Cleveland pretty much every which way. I'm on them on the run line. I'm going to take the over in the game because I think Cleveland gets 6-7 all by themselves. I don't think Washington's going to get shut out. So just give me a run or two and we get my over here. I'm going to take Jose Ramirez to hit a home run, anytime home run. He's been hot as all get out here. So he had a great quote. I'm better than Barry Bonds when someone asked him about it when he was walked with the bases loaded, like Barry Bonds was back in the day. I'm better than Barry Bonds. Okay, I like the confidence. Not so sure I agree with your statement there, unless you're saying because you never did steroids, then I might agree with you. But I'm on Cleveland every which way tonight. I think they take care of business pretty handily.
12 runs, 11 earned, and 5 home runs over his last 12 innings, Patrick Corbin. So when you say he stinks, yeah, he stinks here. The Rays taking on the Baltimore Orioles, who just learned that not only Means but Wells both have to have elbow surgery. So 2 starters shelved here for Baltimore. But they should have enough to be able, with that lineup, to beat the Rays and Savali, no?
Yeah, Westberger's still out as well. He's dealing with a nagging injury here. Baltimore has to make some pitching additions here. Has to. Can't say this enough. I'm the Yankee fan, and Baltimore, they're a team that probably scares me the most because if they make the right moves, not just this year, over the next couple of years, they can run away with this. I'm on Baltimore as well. You're going to give me minus 142. I know it's Suarez, but I agree with you. They should have enough to beat Savali and the Rays.
What are we doing with that Mets team here? The bullpen for Arizona going to be a little worked here this weekend, given the fact they got one batter out of Zach Allen last night. The Mets with Severino should win this game, right? Just like all the other ones they've not won.
It's the battle of ex-Yankees tonight. Severino versus Montgomery, right? Severino has pitched well. If he was pitching this well for the Yankees, he'd still be a Yankee, right? He's pitched well for the Mets, but they seem to always find a way to lose his starts. He doesn't have too many wins there. Montgomery hasn't been all that great either. Still kicking myself last night, Joe, for not betting the Mets. Really did like them, but I was afraid of Gallen. Ended up being Gallen. They left the game early, but the pitching was fine. They didn't hit last night for whatever it's worth here. I can't bet the Mets. All right, so you're going to give me plus money on Arizona?
No.
Give me the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, not without a doubt. I'm with you. And what about the Yanks and the Giants? I think you mentioned something about an under last night on In-Game Live primetime with us. You sticking to that?
I am.
No.
All right.
No, I mean
I'm not
tonight,
going
too.
Yet. I'm sticking with it, but I don't feel as great tonight. Last night was 8.5. Tonight it's 7.5, which I'm a little surprised about. It's Hicks versus Stroman tonight, so I don't feel as great. Maybe a small play, bigger play on the Yankees to win the game. Still worried about the Yankee offense. I know they scored some runs last night. The Angels helped out a lot. A lot of walks last night. Actually, on both sides, a lot of walks helped out that run total.
Yeah. Hicks, the ace for the Giants, Stroman, who's been unhittable for the Yankees here, and that ball doesn't travel very far, so I think it's an under for me as well. George Kurtz, enjoy the night, man. Cash those tickets. Game Time Decisions back for another hour after this.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in another hour of Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. As this Friday, we've got a lot going on here. The NBA takes a back seat until at least Thursday coming up, so we get a couple of days off getting ready for what should be a pretty interesting NBA Finals between Dallas and Boston. But in the meantime, we've got plenty of Major League Baseball and a couple of games underway right now with that Phillies and Cardinals. Nothing, no hits, no nothing here in the bottom of the second. So looking forward to seeing how this game progresses. And I am sure our good friend Mark Zinno stepping in is probably looking at that game and wondering, why in the world didn't I take the under here? Do we trust either of these two teams to get runs in this game? Because both guys seem to be balling, and I'll give the Cardinals credit. They're way better over the last month than what they were to start the season. So the Phillies, what are we thinking with Nola on the mound tonight?
I mean, I'm always willing to fade Miles Mikolas. Like, he is a dumpster fire.
Right.
5.64 ERA and a 1.36 whip. It's interesting, though, like 6 of his 7 starts on the road this year have all gone under the total. So part of me wants to fade him and go over it because the total, the teams that he's played on the road this year, Joe, all been really bad lineups.
Yep.
Detroit, the Mets. He hasn't really faced a ton of like legitimate lineups on the road this year. And yet this is a guy who's going under the total that still has an ERA on the road this year that, is somewhere near 5.5 runs a game. So I'm willing to fade Mikolas here and the Cardinals bullpen. We know the Phillies bullpen struggles at times. I think we get runs here. This total was a little peculiar at 8 this morning, so I played the over in this spot here, figuring both of these teams are going to get runs here. We just got to be a little bit patient. I think we'll get them before the game is over.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they will get there. May not be as high scoring as some folks think with Newbar on the IL now for the Cardinals. He was actually a pretty big catalyst for them. But a game that I'm interested in is with your Braves here tonight at Truist Park, taking on the Athletics. Lopez versus Sears. And let's face it, this ain't your mama's Braves team right now. Zin, we talked last night, and you were mentioning that, listen, they're going through it a little bit here. I still don't think we stick a fork in them, but Are runs coming? Are they plentiful here? Do we trust them enough to clear at 230 here?
Braves continue to be overpriced despite the fact that they're not scoring runs. I don't think you can trust them to score at this point in time until you see some dramatic shift in the numbers that they're putting up game in, game out. I think you have to continue to play unders here. And Sears is not a terrible starter. I know that the A's are a bad team, and you kind of look at some of the numbers in the big picture and you go, oh, this team isn't good. But the Braves at a minus 240 favorite right now, given what they've put up, seems a little bit ludicrous. You know, like playing against the Braves on the run line right now seems like a more favorable spot. And Sears, again, with a 3.88 ERA and a very respectable 1.1 whip. This is a guy that just, doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, pitches to contact a lot, but he's been effective enough. And until the Braves start scoring, Joe, I'm not betting on them. I just won't. They are not a team that I can really have a lot of confidence in to get home, especially laying these kind of prices.
Yeah, it just feels like unless the wind is blowing out at Truist, does it usually blow out at Truist or is it blowing in?
It's very hitter-friendly, to say the least.
It is. Okay. Yeah. So I thought it gets into tailwinds there and then bye-bye. What are we doing with the White Sox tonight? The only guy ever worth betting is on the mound, Fede, but you don't ever want to bet him over 5 innings. Taking on the Brewers and Myers on the mound for him here tonight. Brewers just beat the crap out of the Cubs, but then again, so does everyone else. What do you think we're going to get here? Do we trust them enough to get another one at home here?
Joe, I back the Brewers here on the money line, given Eric Fedde's home road splits. Look, we're 2 months into the season. We've had every starter who has made at least 4 or 5 starts at both at home and on the road. And while Eric Fedde here has got a 0.95 ERA at home and a 194 batting average against at home, on the road his ERA is 5.4. He's got a whip that's over 1.4. Opposing hitters are hitting a lot better against them on the road here. I played the Brewers. They're a much better team at home than they are on the road. Their offense has proven to be better at home than on the road. And so let's go first 5 here with the Brewers and on the money line in both spots here. They should get a big enough lead against Fedde here early and then carry it on late with a much better bullpen.
Speaking about a different home road, Lopez on the mound for the Twins here tonight in Houston. He's not very good on the road. Tends to give up some barrels on the road here. What are we looking at with this? They've won 7 of 9, Minnesota. Listen, they're figuring some things out. But is Houston a good team yet in your mind?
No. I mean, and just look at the price here, Joe, that you're looking at with Houston. If you see Houston home in general, right, and you're looking at this team that is Houston, and you're going, okay, at home, they're always going to be a minus 130, minus 140 favorite against even some of the best teams. The fact that they're sitting here right now, simply at a minus 115 favorite against the Twins, maybe Lopez is a little bit overpriced, and given the numbers that he's put up and what you've talked about, there's some sort of narrative buy-in to Lopez as a starter, especially compared to Blanco for Ronald Blanco for the Astros, but I can't back the Astros. I mean, I just can't. I don't trust them enough at this point in time. They're below 500 on the road. They're still 7 games below 500 on the season. Until you see them kick it into gear here, it's a tough spot for me to back Houston. Lopez also a tough, guy to give in a 4.525 ERA. But still, again, a 1.1 whip here for him and 69 strikeouts in 60 innings. That sort of gives you the signal here that he's had some bad starts, but everything else has been pretty dominant. His last 2 starts giving up 13 runs in just 9 2/3 here, Joe. So I think he turns it around a little bit tonight, but it's a stay away game for me, no less.
It's interesting. I'm looking at his strikeout prop too, Blanco, 6.5. And we all know the Twins love to strike out. He's already sat down 22 in 24 home innings, Blanco. So he certainly has the stuff to be pretty annoying to teams that swing and miss a little bit here. I wouldn't be shocked if we get 8 strikeouts in this one also. I also wouldn't be shocked if the Padres and the Royals end up striking a few times here tonight in a game that is very odd in the market with Cease on the mound and going up against our boy Waka. What are we doing in this game?
I mean, look, the Kansas City Royals as a home dog here is extremely appetizing to people who have been paying attention. Then again, the San Diego Padres are an offense that hits, and they have their best starter on the mound. Now, Dylan Cease beginning part of the year was electric, right? Like he was incredibly unbeatable to start the season. But you look at his last 3 starts, he gave up 3 runs in 5 2/3 to Colorado, gave up 5 runs in 4 innings to Atlanta, and then 4 runs in 6 2/3 to the Yankees. Prior to that, he hadn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start this season. I'm sorry, in all but 1 start this season. It was on the road against Philadelphia. So he was really good. Now, not so much. Do you want to trust him to fall back in line to what he did earlier in the year? I don't know that this is the spot to do it on the road against a very accomplished Royals lineup. But then again, Michael Wacha is average on his very best day at this point. 4.31 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. This is a guy that's walked a lot of batters this year too. That's really the problem that he has, is that he gives up a lot of walks and they turn into runs. And so Kansas City being a home dog probably looks pretty favorable, although the +1.5 is probably out of my price range, what you're looking at from a juice perspective. Maybe if you take Kansas City +1, you find an alternate line. That's probably the best way to do it. That's the way I'd play it here.
See, it's interesting because the Royals know Cease from his days at the White Sox, but the Padres don't play at Kauffman Stadium very much. No. So you're wondering in the first game, maybe it's advantage Royals here with the situation. So I think it's a fascinating game because the market is clearly in favor of the Padres in this one. We do have a few more late night games that are going to come up here. Can't wait to talk Yankees, Giants. Plus, we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming NBA Finals. We'll do it. Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
this
late
sort of
night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. Off and running Major League Baseball. Full card here today. Couple of games just starting here. Mark Zinno stepping in. And Zin, let's talk about this Guardians team. It's Fade Corbin Friday, I believe, is the terminology here for Washington, right? But that's a pretty big number, minus 230, minus 240 for the Guardians. So what are we looking at in this one?
I don't think it's Fade Corbin Friday. I think it's Fade Corbin every day that ends in Y. For a guy with a 6.12 ERA and a 1.96 whip, his ERA is even higher on the road this year. Look, I played on the Guardians in the final game of their series against the Colorado Rockies, where they decided to be impotent offensively. Only scored 2 runs here, but I'm back on the Guardians tonight. Team total over 4.5. It's just tough with the price, the way they were laying the number against Patrick Corbin in Washington here. So you find the alternate market, team total over. Hope that the Guardians bats, who are at home, top 10 in batting average, OPS, home runs hit, and WRC plus. So let's hope they fall back in line here. And again, Patrick Corbin, who's given up 8 runs and 4 runs in his last 2 starts. The guy's in innings eater. They're going to leave him out there and let him pitch, which might be better for the Guardians actually in this case. But I would expect the Guardians offense, especially against the Nationals bullpen that had to pitch yesterday in a 4-game series against the Braves. Guardians had the day off, so you get a better rested bullpen with Cleveland and a Nationals bullpen that's a little bit spent here. Let's hope the Guardians get to 5 tonight.
All right, liking the Guardians team total in that one. Another big number here. Toronto shouldn't be laying this number against anybody here, but they got the Pirates tonight. Are you cutting this game in half?
I am. Look, here's the thing, okay? Jose Barrios, don't call me Barrios, is on the mound. He has been excellent all year long, right? And his numbers at home are even better than what they are on the road when you look at his splits here, Joe. This is a guy with a 1.69 ERA at home. He's made 4 starts. They're 3-1. Opposing hitters are batting just 204 against him. He's only given up 19 hits in 26 innings to get a sub-1 whip. So all the numbers are there. But here's what's interesting, and I've followed this since he came up. But the Pirates, okay, every start that Paul Skeens has made, right, after Paul Skeens' pitch, he's made 4 starts. They've won 3 of them. They have lost the following start in all 3 games that he's won. I'm kind of going on the fact that he has given them this emotional lift, and the very next game sets up for a letdown. Why? Because it's not Paul Skeens on the mound, and it's Bailey Falter. And the next guy pitching is nowhere near as good. So I get a favorable starter here in Berrios, a manageable number in the first 5 at -0.5 run, and only around -120. I thought it sets up well here, kind of playing on this same idea that the Pirates will fade a little bit after Paul Skeens starts, and we'll take the Blue Jays here in the first 5 and lay the half run.
They underway in Baltimore and top of the first, couple of runners on for Tampa. Boy, that's you don't see that often with them here. Still no score. They just got out of it. So going to the bottom of the first, how'd you approach the Orioles and the Rays here?
All right, well, what you approach with the Orioles here is that Albert Suarez is on the mound. Nobody knows who Albert Suarez is. Why? Because he's Albert Suarez. He's a starter that was turned reliever, now back into a starting role. Made 4 starts in the year. The Orioles won 3 of the 4 starts that he pitched, and he gave up no runs in those starts. You look at his numbers overall in the season, 2-0 to 1.53 ERA and a sub-1 whip. This is a very competent Orioles lineup going up against Aaron Savale, who is a absolute dumpster fire this year on the road. It has been bad, a 7.4 ERA. Opposing hitters are batting .301 against him. This is an Orioles lineup at home that is very, very good. I'll trust the Orioles here all 9 innings. We know the Rays bullpen has been taxed. They played yesterday. Orioles had the day off. They had the rest advantage. A's went to extra innings against the Oakland Athletics. Rays did, against the A's. Went to extra innings here. So we got a little bit of a taxed Rays bullpen that's already bad. Give me the Orioles at home with a very, very good in-Camden yards here on the money line. Got a manageable number here in the -130, -140 range. So we took it with the Orioles.
What are we doing tonight with the Yanks with Stroman on the mound, who is, boy, he's figured some things out. My goodness, he has been absolutely fantastic for him. But they got their ace Hicks on the mound for the Giants. That's not a great hitter's ballpark, Oracle there. 7.5 is the total. Do you trust the Yanks here? Should we look at the total? What's the best approach here for them tonight?
The Giants are a very perplexing team. They're a game above 500, and yet they are -19 in run differential. So when I see that, and I see a team that has a -19 run differential that's still sitting above 500, it screams they win a lot of 1-run games and lose by a lot. So there's only 2 ways to play this game. You lay the 1.5 with the Yankees on the run line, or you take the Giants on the money line, and that's it. Do you really? It's about who you believe more is going to win the game. But those are the outcomes that the Giants have. They don't win by margin. They don't score a lot of runs because, again, they have a negative 19 run differential. So they're likely to win a one-run game if they go ahead and win this thing. If the Yankees bats do what they're supposed to do, they should clobber this team and easily cover that 1.5. That's the only two ways I'll play with the Giants this year. Again, I'll lay the run line against the Giants or take the Giants on the money line and chase plus money.
I thought of you earlier today looking at this game because your boy, Woo, is on the mound tonight for Seattle, taking on the Angels, who, they were competitive, to say the least, against the Yanks here. But this is down to 6.5. What are we missing here?
I mean, look, whenever Brian Wu gets on the mound here, I always look to a K-prop, right? Because he's got swing and miss stuff. But if you look at his last 4 starts, he's given up combined 4 earned runs, and the worst one was to Washington on the road. He's incredible at home. This is a young lefty here who's got fantastic stuff. I don't play against Brian Wu. It's Brian Wu or pass, a 0.93 ERA. He's only given up 1 earned run at home this year, and opposing hitters are batting 125 against him. So I don't fade Brian Wu. I walk with Wu. He is my Wu. And Jose Soriano is not a very good pitcher. Here's the thing about the Angels, though. They're much worse at home than they are on the road.
Yeah.
So I would look here, given the Seattle lineup, because they strike out a lot, a first 5 under with the Mariners and Angels.
I thought that might be where you'd be heading with that one. The only other game on the board tonight is with the Rockies, but they're getting 9,000 runs, so that's useless. Zeno, enjoy the rest of your evening and weekend. Cash those tickets. Game Time Decisions continues next here on the Grid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, off and running. Quite a night of Major League Baseball in store here. Want to thank you so much for stopping by. Game Time Decisions on the SportsGrid Network. No better way to kick off the weekend and the night than with a little same game parlay, and none better than our good friend Davis Maddock. And Davis, what are you looking at here tonight for an SGP?
All right, guys, we are back with another same game parlay over on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Major League Baseball tonight, the San Diego Padres traveling to play at the Kansas City Royals. We're going to take the under on 8 total runs with Michael Wacha and Dylan Cease pitching in this game. Cease sub-1 whip on the season. Michael Wacha actually has a full run difference between his fielding independent pitching and his actual ERA, suggesting he's been a little bit unlucky to honestly be a pretty strong pitcher anyway this season. We are also going to take Wacha to record over 3.5 strikeouts in this game. He's beaten that number in 3 of his 5 last starts. And this Padres lineup does make a ton of contact, but I expect him to go deeper in this game. And of course, we are going to add one Mr. Bobby Witt Jr. to record a stolen base in this game, one of the best base stealers remaining in Major League Baseball. This 3-leg same game parlay gives us plus 913 odds, under 8, Michael Wacha over 3.5 strikeouts, and Bobby Witt Jr. to record a stolen base. Good luck tonight, everybody.
All right, thanks, Davis. Should be an interesting game here, and kind of with him. I've made a lot of money betting on Wacha over the last couple of years and the resurgence that he has had. And don't forget, he's been with about 9 different teams, but he was really good with the Padres last year. He's had a couple of rocky outings here with the Royals, but for the most part, he's an innings eater that is not going to lose the game for Kansas City. 21-8 at home right now for this Royals team. And do not forget, they know Dylan Cease. He was in the American League. So from his days at the White Sox, they know him. This is the first crack at Kauffman Stadium for the Padres. They don't often make it to Kansas. That's why I usually like on these Fridays to look at some home teams, some home favorites, some home dogs in this spot, at least in the first game of a series like this, because of the familiarity with the home team. And we've got a ton of these interleague games happening this weekend, some really great matchups. This being one of them. The market says they love Dylan Cease. I'm not so sure, and I am certainly with Davis on that one. We do have a couple of other games that are getting ready to go here, top of the hour, including the Twins and the Astros. And Blanco, keep an eye on whether or not he can actually take the glove off his hand. Apparently, that's a pretty good indicator on what kind of evening he will have on the mound. If his hand sticks to the glove, we probably should back Houston. But there is nothing I like about Lopez on the road in this one. I think Blanco and that over in strikeouts right now, if it's still 6.5, he has been doing, and anybody who thought he might be a flash in the pan has not been paying attention, because even after the suspension, he has come back and he has dealt, especially at home. And it just feels like Houston, they're undervalued right now because of the start that they have had. But I definitely think they are getting ready to turn things around. Not to mention, you got an Astros team that ranks 4th in OPS against right-handed pitching. And we're also looking at Lopez, who this is the worst year of his career so far for giving up barrels and hard-hit balls. He is not missing as many bats, but he is barreling a lot of them, which is eventually not a good situation here. Much better at home than he has been on the road. So I definitely think that Houston, at this kind of price, bet them while you can, because, my goodness, once they start putting that winning streak together, you're not going to be able to get them at this price. And let's face it, the Twins beat bad teams. They don't beat decent teams or better, and I think Houston is getting back into that category as we speak. We've got plenty more to get to coming up here. Of course, the puck will drop at the top of the hour. Game 5 between Dallas and Edmonton. We'll give you the latest on that one in the Western Conference Finals, and we also have a little look ahead to all-important Game 6 with the Panthers and the Rangers. Who will represent the East in the Stanley Cup Finals? We'll talk about it next here on Game Time Decisions.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
GameTime Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, man, this is, if you ever feel like the fix was in, I kind of having that feeling right now here at SportsGrid. Welcome in. A happy Friday to you. Game Time Decisions. Us and me and the producers had a little wager going here as we're welcoming in the Dave Sharapan moment here as he'll be taking over top of the hour for in-game live prime time. And we usually have a little side wager going on, just friendly wager, usually on what apparel he'll be showing up with when he shows up on these shows here. I unfortunately mentioned Dallas, and I thought, he would have the Dallas gear on, but the producers, Dave, swore you'd be coming in with the Edmonton gear, and I just lost that bet, although I do feel like the fix was in because they might have seen you first. But Edmonton tonight, is that any indicator on how you're leaning in this game?
No, it was completely, no one saw me before. There was no early look, Joe. No fix was on. All right. I swear, I would tell you if there was. The producers do picks every night. When you and I do in-game live prime time on Mondays and Thursdays,
Yeah.
They might have a pick tonight. Listen, the producers could use one for the team. It's been a rough week for them. All right. Hasn't worked out. That's okay. No, tonight Morency gave me this hat. All right. This is a Oak Canada hat. All right.
Ooh.
And I said, I got to represent the Canadian audience. Although I don't think people from Edmonton root for Toronto. So why would anybody from Toronto root for people from, teams from Edmonton? I don't think that works. That's like you being a Yankee fan rooting for another team in the American League East because they're in the World Series. Like, you're not going to do that.
Right.
Dead under tonight. We're on under. I think low scoring game. The line, again, I say this all the time. The line tells a story. This game is a dead pick'em. And Edmonton put the seed of doubt back in to anyone that has Dallas, is rooting for Dallas. I felt pretty confident in Dallas after game 3 and then went, I guess we got ourselves a series.
Right.
Road team won yesterday. I guess the road team could win tonight. I don't know. We'll be doing the in-game thing like we did last night. I'm still a little bit ticked off, Joe, that we were under 4.5 with plus money on a good bet. Yep. And we got a late goal was like, really? And then I thought we were going to blow the whole thing on the 5.5 with an empty netter. I was like, this can't be. This can't be. So, no.
I was
you like a side
quite
pick
annoyed
this game?
with how that. Well, I was a little I was torn because in game we dropped in on it because it just felt like this was either going to overtime, which we had hoped it would, or it was basically going to be next to goal wins. And of course, I had the ticket on the Panthers, and sure enough, once they got the empty netter, I was like, well, this is, let's everyone settle down. All right, we're good to go. Let's just end the game now. But unfortunately, the Rangers just kept coming in. They scored that last under a minute goal to make it 3-2. Still stayed under the original 5.5, but we thought that was the kind of game we're going to get. And you think that's the kind of game we're going to get here tonight? I've been amazed, Dave, on how little home ice has meant in the playoffs, because the numbers are actually astounding here. 43-34 road teams in the postseason, straight up. I mean, that's a big number, man, that road teams would have that kind of advantage. And it tells me that Dallas, it's great, but that you're home, but it really doesn't matter much if we're talking about 43-34 to the road teams. Yeah. That's crazy.
And that's what the line's telling you too, right? Like normally this would be
right.
minus 140, minus 150. It's minus 128 on the graphic. It's lower in some places. It's minus 125, minus 120 even. So the hockey playoffs have lived up to the billing. Last night we saw Dallas finish off the T-Wolves in an absolute blowout. I mean, that was disgusting. Mm-hmm. We're not getting that tonight. I don't think so. I don't think we get that at all. I think this is going to be a close game. I think we'll have numerous betting opportunities. No lead has really been safe in this series, right? We've seen teams have a lead, come back. I mean, legitimately, I thought Dallas up 2-0 in the first period last game. They get another goal that we may be playing for the clincher tonight. And instead, we're in a lockdown 2-2. This one might go home team, and go 7. Or it goes road team tonight, like Florida winning in Game 5, with Edmonton going home with an opportunity to clinch. Now, Edmonton's not going to be no minus 170 favorite like Florida is tomorrow. This is gonna be one of those games where again, I think under early, and then try to catch it in the middle with a over late. Ideally under 5.5, over 3.5, and have had numbers working 4 and 5 in the middle for us.
I'm thinking that we want goals early because this number is going to balloon. Given what we know about Edmonton and the recent result, I mean, if we get a goal, if it's 1-1 going into the second period, you're going to be able to get a ridiculous number. We're talking about 6 and a 7.5. We saw it last night with the rain. We couldn't believe it. How it kept creeping up in that one, and then eventually everything settled down. And boy, oh boy, that would be something else. If you're looking for just a little more, hope there's a goal quickly in this one, which wouldn't shock me either. With Edmonton and Dallas having the ability to be able to score and score quickly, I can't believe how the Edmonton they have not given up a goal to Dallas. So they have not scored on this Edmonton team. Their power play, with Skinner at goal, they still haven't been able to score a power play goal, which is kind of crazy to me when you think about it because of Skinner. But maybe you're right. All of this power play killing here from both sides, maybe the man advantage just is not where we're going to get a lot of goals for the rest of the series.
Less chances, usually, in the playoffs. And like last night, again, I keep going back to that because we were keeping such close track of it, and you and I were doing the show, was 2 power play opportunities for each team. And then there was a third one for Florida, I think it was in the third. But it didn't matter. They weren't scoring. I think you're seeing a hesitation on a lot of power plays because like a team like the Rangers have 6 shorthanded goals in the playoffs. Teams are
Yes.
killing penalties, not into an offensive charge, but they're taking shots. And teams, now that we're getting down to the end, there's only 4 teams left. It's very, I don't want to say conservative, but it's almost like the power play units don't want to make a mistake instead of going all in to score, putting 4 guys down low, 1 guy literally standing at the top of the crease trying to be the screen all the time. You're seeing it out on the peripheral a little bit more. Edmonton, if they get power play opportunities tonight, they are live even more to win the game. They're better on the power play.
Yep. I saw it too. Some of the anytime goal props, the prices were crazy. I mean, Draisaitl's plus 150. I mean, come on. There are going to be one of these guys is going to be able to score. I mean, McDavid did it, cashed for everybody last game, but it feels like we're going to get that Draisaitl game here where it should be interesting here tonight. And Ottinger has been worse at home than on the road, which is also kind of crazy here. So, it really is very, very strange here. But the question remains, Florida wins tomorrow, then what's the better battle for a Stanley Cup? If it is Florida, who wins it? That's an interesting conversation. We'll talk about that and update you Major League Baseball next here on Game Time Decisions.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in to Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. A very happy Friday to you. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharpan, who will be taking over top of the hour. A little in-game live primetime coming your way for an all-important and pivotal Game 5 coming your way for the NHL Western Conference Championship. Dallas at home looking to take that 3-2 lead, and Edmonton is trying to do its best to represent Canada as a possible Stanley Cup champion here. The big question is, Dave, if it is Florida tomorrow taking on the Rangers, and you had mentioned that that line tomorrow in that game, Panthers at home, minus 165, somewhere in that ballpark, still 5.5, which is hilarious because would you be shocked if that thing hit 5? I mean, it's already juiced to the wall on the under.
Right. I talk about this all the time. When you're in the book, especially when you're at the counter and somebody comes up and says, I want to go under the hockey game. You're like, all right, it's under 5.5. It's minus 145. And they go, what does that mean? Well, you have to give me $1.45 to win $1. And they go, I'm good. Like, I thought it was minus 110. Well, it usually is. And they go, well, you know, I'd pay up to minus 120. Yeah, the price is minus 145. I would rather, if it was our book, Joe, I'd put up 5 and just make it over minus 120 or whatever you got to make it. And I'll be happy with the push. I think it discourages action when it's a 5.5 on a total and it's just that big of a juice. So would I be surprised? No, I would be encouraged, actually, if it's 5.
Yes.
I would rather it be 5. And again, from the book's perspective, there's another day of games always. Like I know that there's less playoff games and meaningful games and all of the other stuff, and the handle is bigger for individual standalone games like the Rangers and Panthers will be tomorrow. But so what? Just put it at a flat number, and we'll give it back if it's 3-2, like it was last night. It stinks.
Yep.
You know, you don't want to do all that work for nothing, but I'd much rather it be 5 flat than 5.5 minus 145.
Woo! It's and it's going to keep going that way too. So I know a lot of folks expecting maybe another overtime game. Could very well be here. Wouldn't shock us. But Florida, if they win, Florida's going to be the favorite in the Stanley Cup Finals one way or the other, right? So Florida advances. Now, whether it's Edmonton or it's Dallas, Florida is going to be the favorite right now. Is that fair?
So when you look at it, it's, you know, Florida's the favorite right now until Dallas. If Dallas wins tonight, then that price will get close to the Florida price.
Right.
And then you're going to get an argument from people between Florida and Dallas. Someone might have minus 120 one way or the other, but pretty much consensus is it's pick 'em, minus 110. And then my buddy here in Vegas who put them up already, put up the future matchups, what could be, has Florida favored over Edmonton, minus 130. So no matter what, that's the look ahead numbers right now. Now that's barring that everybody plays. There's no injuries, anything like that. I don't know. I mean, if Connor McDavid wouldn't play in the series, obviously it's going to change the price. But there's not too many guys individually that are going to change anything for any one of those teams. But right now, you know, odds to win a Stanley Cup, Florida's already there. The winner of tonight's game will be the second choice. Third choice is the loser of tonight's game. And surprisingly, the Rangers, when they were up 2-1, were the favorite to win the whole thing. They are now the long distance last choice of the 4 teams. 10-1 in places right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Almost feels like if you haven't taken them, I mean, if they win and there's a game 7, that number is going to be split worse than in half. So if you want to double down, now would be the time. Because I don't think, listen, they're a dog in this one, but a game 7 back at the Garden, it's still going to be a pick 'em price. So you can't roll anything over at this point. So you might as well take the big plus money if you can, if you think they can rattle off 2 wins in a row here. And you just got to get there at this point. Because even if they go there and they were to win it all at that price, it may not be worth a bad chance if you are a big believer that the Rangers can not only beat the Panthers, but can beat either Edmonton or Dallas here in this one tonight. How are you looking at when it comes to these guys here tonight? You already think it's going to be an under. Is it going to be the big names tonight? Is it going to be the obscure guys? Because it feels like some of these names and these prop prices, just give me the guy. Give me Robertson, give me Draisaitl, give me McDavid. You bet these guys, Dave, at this kind of plus money, even if you get 3 goals, 4 goals, there's a good chance that those names are going to be on top, not some obscure guy on a fourth line somewhere.
You got Jamie Benn to score a goal last game for the Stars. He's like plus 350, right?
What?
So somebody like that can score a goal. Yeah, Jamie Benn right now, I'm looking at the anytime goal score, plus 350. Rupe Hintz, plus 230. Plus 270. There's Jason Robertson, plus 240. There's options.
Evan Kane, Evander Kane is another guy.
He's seeing second time on the power play. I like the guys that see the first line of the power play, personally. So, obviously Wyatt Johnson for the Stars. Does McDavid score 2 goals
Hyman's
2 games in a row? I don't think so.
Zach Hyman's minus money for an anytime goal. What the hell is that?
That's strange.
I mean, that's how it's ridiculous. Like we're laying numbers right now for an anytime goal on Edmonton. We don't see that with even Wyatt Johnson. The best you're going to get is plus 190, plus 200, so 2-1. But unbelievable that he's at this point minus money to score a goal. Mind-numbing when I tell you. Not as mind-numbing as the Marlins beating the Rangers. We'll dive into that coming up next here. Game Time Decisions.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game Time Decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
this
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions. Looking to close out this edition, but coming up here, top of the hour, in game live, prime time here. They will have you all covered with the puck dropping in that Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. Plenty of Major League Baseball underway here tonight. Dave Sherapan will have you covered coming up. And before we get you out of here, Dave, I'm still laughing at the fact that The Marlins are now 3-0 over the Rangers at home in the bottom of the third. The Braves are 3-0 here. But I do not understand under any circumstances the fascination with Dylan Cease coming up here, taking on Kansas City, who has been money at home, and Michael Wacha. What is with the love for the Padres and Dylan Cease tonight?
I don't know. And it's strange because it's carried over from the White Sox days. Like, it's not just because he's on the Padres. Now, they used to bet him pretty much every start when he was on the White Sox.
Right.
And they carried it over to betting him when he's on the Padres, even on the road laying money. Like, it's bizarre.
Yep.
So I think odds makers and books know that. There's certain guys that the analytics guys, the bag guys, the whomever, when they bet consistently on a pitcher, they play him. So you know that, and you make it like where that game should probably be closer to pick 'em. I'll even give you minus 115 or 120 on the Padres. They know they're going to bet Cease, so they juice it. And I don't know. I mean, he's got a 3.29 ERA. He's 5-4. A lot of Ks. Wacha hasn't been. The Kansas City's got some great outings from Reagans, Lugo. But they hit a little bit when Wacha pitches. Feels like a live dog to me tonight, Joe. You were talking about the Astros. I think that game's a pick 'em, but a lower scoring game. I can't figure out the line with the Yankees, Joe. I know they're coming off the road in the Angels and stuff, going north. They're one of the best teams in baseball. And it's not like no one knows the Yankees. So we'll have that game later tonight. But is that short? That feels short. If it was our place, I'd say let's make the Yankees minus 140 and take the Giants money. No?
Right. Well, and I think the total tells you also, which is interesting, and only at 7.5. I mean, it is Hicks for the Giants, right? So he is a guy that when he is on, kind of hard to hit. That ball doesn't travel very well at Oracle anyway. But Stroman has been lights out for the Yanks, too. I mean, he is not giving up a ton of runs, and the Giants aren't exactly, murderer's row there. So I agree with the low total at 7.5. And if that's the case, minus 130, minus 125 for the Yankees. And I'm still going to bet the Yankees lineup over the Giants lineup here. Especially, I'll even give you this. Give me in the first 5. How's that? I'll take the Yankees in the first 5 in this game here tonight to get it done. And this way you don't even have to worry about it. Just get me at the first 5. Well, it could be 1-0 for all I care. And chances are it could very well be that.
All right, I'll leave you with this. I'm going to go join Peralt. We'll see you guys later if you're following over. But Kansas City's on what does this say? A 7-game home winning streak. Plus money, dog. Go KC Royals.
21-8.
Boys.
21-8 at home. Go get them there. Dave Sharapan coming up here in just a couple of minutes here as in-game live primetime is coming your way. And I'm telling you right now, I am betting that he switches in to the Dallas gear as soon as they score first in this game. I'm just telling you right now, we all know it's happening. Keep your eye on Sharapan's wardrobe. He is very fair weather like that. He'll start with Edmonton, but I promise you, there could be a Dallas jersey by the time we get to the second period there. All right, we got plenty of Major League Baseball coming up here tonight. Should be a great hockey game. Looking forward to it all, and including we get that little late night action between the Yankees and the Giants. And don't forget, Mariners, Angels, as well as the Dodgers at home taking on the Rockies. Walker Buehler on the mound for the Dodgers tonight, and all you have to do is lay $3.50 and to back them. What could possibly go wrong with laying $3.50 for the Dodgers to beat the Rockies? Well, we'll just have to wait to see how that all plays out. In-game live primetime coming up next. Enjoy the night. Cash those tickets. Game Time Decisions will be back tomorrow here on the Grid.